This is the Durable Dad Podcast. I'm your host, Tommy Geary. This show is going to give you the skills and tools you need to be a rock-solid man for your work, your community, and most importantly, your family. All right, what's up, guys? Episode number 7 today. We are going to talk about how to not let our shit roll downhill. And the phrase shit rolls downhill, kind of did some quick research on it, and it looks like it came from the Army. And the basis is that when struggles, stress, problems hit you, arrive in your day-to-day, that it stops with you. You don't let it infiltrate and roll down throughout the rest of the guys in your unit. And what does this mean in life? How does it translate? In our normal day-to-day life, shit's going to come our way, and we learn how to handle it and deal with it in a responsible way. It doesn't mean that we take it on and feel all the pressure and have to carry the burden around with us all the time, but we figure out how to handle it without it busting into the culture at work and into our family and into our home. Men are leaders, and women are leaders too in all walks of life. But on this podcast, I'm really talking to the guys out there. That's my voice, but everything I'm saying applies to women too. And we are leaders at work. Maybe we have employees or we have a team underneath us. At home, we are a leader along with our partner. We're setting the tone and we're leading by example. So we want to take on the responsibility. We want to own the risk that we have taken on as a leader in life. And it's inevitable that life is going to throw some tough stuff at us. And when we let the shit hit us and continue to roll downhill at work, it affects the culture. Your employees, your team are going to feel the pressure that you're feeling, and they're going to be a little more hesitant to come ask for help, or they're going to be a little more stressed themselves. At home, we can let the crap from work come into our house. And that looks like our kids saying one little thing and us flipping out over it, right? We're not actually mad at our kids or angry with our kids, but the stuff that we've been carrying from work, a meeting that went awry, something you wish you had said, something that's going to happen tomorrow. If we let that stay in our mind and continue to take up that mental space, we're going to be super reactive at home and we're going to be short-tempered. So that's what it looks like with our kids. With our wives, we want to be able to connect with them and tell them what's happening at work and the struggles that we're facing. And we don't want them to be our only outlet. One of the guys that I recently started working with, he kind of came with that. He's like, I am working on these goals and I'm having some roadblocks here and there and time is super short. And I feel like my only outlet is my wife, and I don't want to put that all on her because our wives also have their shit that they're dealing with, and we want to be there for them, and we want our relationships to support each other, but we have to be intentional about not putting it all on our partners. All right, and the reason that I'm talking about the shit rolling downhill and using that phrase is because I was talking to one of my clients. He's a CFO, and at the beginning of the year, he was dealing with one difficult investor. He works with a lot of the investors, and one was just giving him a hard time, being really needy, a lot of emails, a lot of extra work. And he just popped into his colleague's office and said, "Hey man, I got this going on." And his colleague was just like, "Dude, I totally get it. I've been there. I'm kind of swamped right now. Can we talk about this later?" And total normal interaction. But as my client was walking out, he was like, "Oh, totally just interrupted him. Didn't even kind of realize that." And he was like, "I was letting my shit roll downhill." So we kind of laughed about it, and we realized that it stops with us. These struggles, these turmoils, these problems that get thrown our way, it stops with us, and we want to deal with it responsibly. So I'm going to give you 4 ways to do that. Number one, your health. Take care of yourself. So I have this one buddy that I run with often, and he was just catching me up on how his year's going, and he's telling me that the president of his division was putting a lot of pressure on him. And so I asked my buddy, like, how do you make sure that that pressure doesn't go down to your team? And he said that he takes it all on. And we didn't dive too much into it because sometimes I can ask a lot of questions, and I try not to because we were just running, having a good conversation and hanging out. But what I am telling myself is like, this guy's super healthy. He runs, he works out all the time. And I think when we take a lot of pressure on at work, that's one helpful way to not let our shit roll downhill, is to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, making sure that we're getting enough sleep, exercising, putting some healthy food in our body. That's one way. All right, number two, clearing out our head. Right? These problems, these issues can take up a lot of mental capacity, and we can be spinning around, questioning what we should have done, worrying about what has to happen next, and thinking about what we need to do. And when it's spinning in our head, not the most responsible way. So clearing out our head pretty much means writing it out. So taking out a pen and paper, writing what the problem is, getting some strategic thoughts in there, asking yourself, how do I want to deal with this? What's my approach going to be? And when we get it out and we can see it in front of us, then we have more mental capacity for the people in our lives. And I've heard this Buddhist monk talk about having a still ocean in front of us. And when we have a clear mind and an open heart, we have this calm, large, vast ocean. And when people bring their problems, our kids' homework is taking too long, our employee is sick and not going to be there for a couple weeks, they're just drops in these oceans. They're just little raindrops, and you can see the ripple, and you can handle it with a calm approach. So that's number two. Number three, where can you hire help? Where can you take the problems that you have in front of you and lean on someone else for support? Is it a financial advisor, or is it a business consultant to come and strategically think with to move forward, or a personal trainer to work on your health and your energy? Guys tend to tackle problems on their own. We shoulder the burden and we think, I got to figure this out. I can take care of this by myself. I shouldn't ask for help. And that wears out. We only have so much time in the day. We only have so much energy. And thinking about where you can buy some time back can be really powerful and really helpful. Is it a cleaning lady if you don't already have one? Is it hiring someone to take care of your lawn? We live in a neighborhood where a lot of people take care of their own lawn, and my wife and I decided to have someone else cut our lawn, and there was a little bit of shame in that. However, when we looked at our time and how much time it was taking to mow our lawn, how much time we spent thinking about mowing our lawn and trying to fit it in at different times because we're really busy running the business. So we decided to hire someone to take care of our lawn. And it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it does take some of the burden off, some of the responsibility off, so we can perform better in the areas of our lives that we want to. Number 4, find other guys, like-minded men that are in similar situations, to act as a net to hold you up. And you also get to hold them up. I host a bi-weekly group. I'm in a workout group with a bunch of guys. I have a business group with other entrepreneurs. Shit comes up in these settings. One dude lost his job recently, and he was holding that burden, and there was an opportunity for him to talk about it. And when he talked about it, you could just tell saying it to the rest of us released some pressure in him. He was struggling at home, having his kids kind of see him around the house during the day and not working. And it's not like he was off. He was only off work for a week, but he was telling himself that he wasn't doing a good job and that it was hard. And being able to say that in front of other guys and us, hey man, you got this, you're going to be okay, really buoys him up. And another dude came with a employee that he was dealing with was giving him a hard time about compensation, and you could tell he was pretty pissed about it. And by the time he shared and we reflected, talked about how we've gone through the same stuff, maybe looking at it in different ways, we were making jokes about the situation, and it was just lighter. So leaning on other guys, you supporting them supporting you, is another way for us to stop our shit from rolling downhill and dealing with it in a responsible way. And then the last thing I really want to touch on is that it's not just our present day shit that we let roll downhill. We carry a lot of crap and limiting beliefs and old habits from the earlier parts of our lives. If we grew up in a household where our parents were yelling a lot, making sure that how we were trained to handle arguments when we were younger and we saw people arguing to settle conflict, that impacted us in a way that we think that's how we do it today, subconsciously, right? And it's our responsibility to not show up in that way. And now we have this determination to not let that impact our kids. I'm not going to parent like that. So that's another type of pressure, shit that we take on that we need to start taking responsibility for, because we have the opportunity. We have the opportunity to continue on with the past that we've been given and keep operating that way, or we can act differently. And this matters because we are impacting other people's lives, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not. How we show up is impacting the people at work, and more importantly, at home, not just with our partners, but our kids. And we want our kids to be amazing human beings, and we want to leave this legacy that we're proud of, that they're proud of, and we have a lot of influence over that, which is totally awesome. So I hope that shedding some light on this stuff, framing it up as don't let your shit roll downhill, lands a little bit, because depending on how old our kids are, if they're really young, we want to keep them sheltered. We want them to be able to just be kids for as long as possible. And we can do that by keeping the pressure of real life outside of the home. And as they get older, life is going to throw stuff their way. When they're teenagers and they start going into social situations, or they start entering the workforce and getting in the real world, or having boyfriends and girlfriends, they're going to get hit with stuff. And how we handle our problem, our shit, is going to directly impact how they handle theirs. And if we know what we're doing, we're able to not just set an example, but they can also lean on us. We can talk to them about what it looks like to understand what's in your control and what's not, and how to ask for support and keep yourself healthy, and how to clear your mind out, right? All these things are tools that we use, and then we get to pass down to the future generations. All right. That's what I got for you guys today. Appreciate you listening. Let me know what hits home, and you can always find me, TommyGCoaching.com. Have an awesome day. All right, before you take off, what is your big challenge for 2026? If you haven't decided yet, check out the next Grand Canyon trip, a 16-mile hike from the top of the canyon down to the Colorado River and back up. This is the kind of challenge that's going to push you into a higher gear. You're going to train, you're going to get in better shape, and you're going to check off a bucket list experience. So if you're wanting something to train for next year, a goal that's going to pull you out of the grind, this is it. We're assembling the team right now. All the details are on the website. Training starts in January. We hike in April. Check it out.